Maggie faces death wish before shocking murder twist in Coronation Street. Trouble is brewing on the cobbles next week in Coronation Street as Maggie Driscoll becomes caught up in a deepening crisis, and one unexpected reaction leaves the people around her stunned. Tensions are already running high as Maggie grows more and more obsessed with Megan Walsh. Reaching her limit, she decides she can't stand by any longer and chooses to deal with the situation herself. Although Ben Driscoll and Eva try to convince themselves that staying uninvolved is the smartest move and hope that Will stays far away from Megan, it soon becomes obvious that things are not that simple. Without their knowledge, Will has continued seeing Megan at her new apartment, keeping their bond far from over. Maggie, however, has no intention of standing on the sidelines. Believing it's up to her to intervene, she seeks Megan out and confronts her face to face, firmly warning her to keep her distance. The exchange is tense from the start, and it doesn't take long before the situation becomes more heated. Not long afterwards, Lisa arrives with a surprising update. Megan has gone to the police and accused Maggie of assault. Maggie immediately denies the allegation, insisting she has done nothing wrong. Even so, the accusation clearly shakes her, and after facing more questions, she decides to go back and confront Megan once again, determined to get to the truth and sort the mess out. But with tempers already flaring, it remains uncertain whether this second showdown will calm things down or make them spiral further. Meanwhile, the consequences of the drama are also affecting those around them. At number 1, Daniel Osborne confides in Ken Barlow, admitting that he now feels manipulated by Megan. He is convinced she only got close to him as a way of getting nearer to Will and used him to hide her true intentions. Ken is visibly troubled by how resentful Daniel has become, especially as the whole situation keeps growing more chaotic for everyone involved. Back at the center of the turmoil, Maggie's actions become increasingly difficult to overlook. During a fiery confrontation, she backs Will into a corner and demands the truth, certain that he still has feelings for Megan. She even shocks him by suggesting the baby may actually be his, putting him under enormous pressure. The explosive row doesn't stay private for long. As soon as Ben and Eva hear the commotion, they rush in, and Ben is quick to jump to Will's defense while angrily challenging Maggie over the way she is acting. But it is the next moment that truly leaves everyone reeling. Caught up in anger, Ben snaps and tells Maggie that things might have been better if she had died instead of his father. It is a cruel and devastating remark, one that instantly silences the room. Instead of dismissing the insult or reacting furiously, Maggie answers in a way that deeply unsettles Ben, making it clear he has noticed something about her response that feels strangely off. It's only a small moment, but enough to plant doubt in his mind. As suspicion begins to grow and emotions continue boiling over, Maggie suddenly finds herself being viewed in a very different light. Sarah faces danger confronting Theo's ex in explosive Coronation Street scenes. Next week on Coronation Street, viewers are set for a dramatic showdown at the bistro as Sarah Platt tries to extract information about Theo Silverton from his former wife Danielle, only to be caught in the act by Todd's abusive husband. As Todd's friends scramble to protect him from Theo, curiosity turns to Theo's life before he arrived in Weatherfield. It is Gary Windus who raises the idea that Danielle, having been married to Theo for many years, might have suffered abuse at his hands. Sarah arranges a meeting to learn more, but events quickly spiral out of control when Theo and Todd walk in on the encounter. Our sources say you can't blame Sarah for wanting to help, but this is a serious error in judgment. Theo is bound to explode, a Corrie insider reveals. Although she tried to stay discreet about her suspicions, she's now exposed herself, which only fuels Todd's abuser's rage and makes the situation more dangerous. With Todd's inner circle increasingly certain that Theo is a threat, it's understandable that Sarah cannot simply stand by. After speaking with George Shuttleworth, who shares his worries about Theo and Todd's well-being, Sarah feels compelled to act. She waits outside Todd's flat until Theo leaves, pleading with him to let her inside so they can talk. Todd hesitantly allows her in, but this temporary success soon turns risky when Theo returns unexpectedly. Our insider adds that Todd's loved ones may not fully grasp the psychological damage Theo has inflicted. Todd is overwhelmed with fear and self-loathing, the source explains. Sarah's support means a lot, but Todd feels trapped and powerless. Sarah's choice to approach Danielle comes after her conversation with Todd in the flat. Seeing the panic on Todd's face when Theo shows up only heightens her concern. Following Gary's advice, Sarah arranges a private meeting with Danielle to uncover the truth. Now the burning question remains, what will Danielle reveal about her past with Theo, and how will Theo react now that Sarah is onto him? George Shuttleworth faces heartbreaking choice in Coronation Street. Next week on Coronation Street, George Shuttleworth is forced to make a shocking decision, following a series of recent business setbacks. With both his career and reputation under threat, could selling the funeral business be his only way out? George has become the target of a damaging smear campaign after a recently deceased client left him a substantial inheritance. The client's daughter, Annie, accused him of wrongdoing and enlisted lawyer Adam Barlow to take legal action against him. At the same time, Annie's allegations, combined with negative online reviews, have scared away other customers, while Theo Silverton stirs up more trouble behind the scenes. Despite George's efforts to preserve his father's legacy, the funeral business seems to be teetering on the brink. Later this week, George will appear in court to defend himself against Annie's damaging claims. Fans know he is innocent, but the big questions remain. How will the judge rule, and can the business survive even if George successfully clears his name? George Shuttleworth faces tough choice as estate agent, visits Coronation Street funeral parlor. Next week on Coronation Street, tensions rise further when an estate agent shows up at Shuttleworth's funeral parlor. Exhausted from months of false accusations and scathing online attacks, George reluctantly lets them inside. What brings the agent to the parlor? Has George truly decided to let go of the family business he holds so dear? Our insider says George can't see a clear path forward for the business, a Corrie source reveals. Weeks of negative reviews and fabricated fraud allegations, all stemming from his clash with Annie, have pushed the situation beyond control. He's done a remarkable job keeping his father's legacy alive over the years, but now it seems he may be ready to step back and cherish the memories rather than continue fighting an uphill battle, the source adds.